Shalom, welcome to Claim Your Inheritance. This is your boy Nazir Divine MLO Joshua Raw, the Crown Prince of Israel. I'm the President Pro Tem of New Jerusalem. I'm also the Governor of NC I'm about to position myself for the Governor of NC of the Green Party. I'm already the Governor of NC for Grand Nation. I'm joined by my co-host, Amaziah Yahawada. He's also the Vice President Pro Tem of the New Jerusalem until the true president and the true vice president stand up and win an election. They have to defeat all the other schools in debates and win the hearts and minds of the people, and they vote for the leader that they want above them. I want to give all praises to the Most High, the wonderful Son, and the Holy Spirit on you.
I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, and double honors out there to all the brothers out there teaching in sincerity and truth. And we're nearing the end of the Shabbat, but Shabbat Shalom, family.
That's right. And don't be asking me why I got my little brother sweater on, sister. I don't ask you why you be turning around in them pictures. You understand? So we're going to get on with the show, though. All right. Now, I want to explain why elections are important, okay? Elections are important due to many reasons. I'm going to add a couple of reasons to what I normally say, okay? Hosea 1:11 will tell you straight up and down with no uncertainty that we're going to appoint a leader over us. So everybody already agrees, all the intelligent people already agree that a Mashiach is our grand leader, the King of Kings. But there are kings that he's going to be the king of, and we're going to be those kings. Right now we're princes until we come back into our inheritance, which will give us the resources to run the earth, run our own nation and run the earth. So Hosea 1:11 tells you that. And let me show you some other things here that kind of support elections, just elections itself. Okay, so this is going to be slightly off the subject, but it tells you, it basically tells you that a leader is going to perform a prophecy here in 2nd Esdras 13. Okay, it says, "And it came to pass after 7 days I dreamed a dream by night, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth felleth when it feels the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of heaven, to subdue the man that came out of the sea. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain, and flew up upon it. But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet did durst fight. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. Afterward, Afterwards saw I the same man come down from the mountain, and call unto him another peaceable multitude. And there came much people unto him, whereof some were glad, some were sorry, and some of them were bound, and others some brought of them that were offered. Then was I sick through great fear, and I awaked and said, Thou hast showed your servant these wonders from the beginning, and hast counted me worthy that thou should receive my prayer. Show me now yet the interpretation of this dream. For as I conceive in mine understanding, woe unto them that shall be left in those days, and much more woe unto them that are not left behind. For they that are not left were in heaviness. Now understand the things that are laid up in the latter days, which shall happen unto them, and to those that are left behind. Therefore are they come into great perils and many necessities, like as these dreams declare. Yet is it easier for him that is in danger to come into these things than to pass away as a cloud out of the world, and not to see the things that happen in the last days? And he answered unto me and said, The interpretation of the vision shall I show you, and I will open unto you the thing that thou hast required. Whereas thou hast spoken of them that are left behind, this is the interpretation. He that shall endure the peril in that time hath kept himself. They that be fallen into danger are such as have works and faith toward the Almighty. Know this, therefore, that they which be left behind are more blessed than they that be dead. This is the meaning of the vision. Whereas thou sawest a man coming up from the midst of the sea, the same is he whom God the highest hath kept a great season, which by his own self shall deliver his creature, and he shall order them that are left behind. And whereas thou sawest that out of his mouth there came out a blast of wind and fire and storm, and that he held neither sword nor any instrument of war, but that the rushing in of him destroyed the whole multitude that came to subdue him. This is the interpretation. Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth, and he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the signs shall happen which I showed you before. And then shall my son be declared, whom thou sawest as a man ascending. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have against one another, and an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together as thou sawest them, willing to come and to overcome him by fighting. But he shall stand upon the top of the Mount Zion, and Zion shall come and shall be showed to all men, being prepared and built up, like as thou sawest the hill graven without hands. And this, my son, shall rebuke the wicked inventions of those nations, which for their wicked life are fallen into the tempest, and shall lay before them their evil thoughts, and the torments wherewith they shall begin to be tormented, which are like unto a flame, and he shall destroy them without labor by the law, which is like unto me. Let me read that again. 2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 38. And shall lay before them their evil thoughts and the torments wherewith they shall begin to be tormented, which are like unto a flame. And he shall destroy them without labor by the law, which is like unto me. And whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him, those are the 10 tribes, which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanasseh, the king of Assyria, led away captive. And he carried them over the waters. And so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely a year and a half, and the same region is called Arsar. Then dwelt they there until the latter time, and now when they shall begin to come, the highest shall stay the springs of the stream again, that they may go through. Therefore sawest thou the multitude with peace. But those that be left behind of your people are they that are found within my borders. Now, when he destroys the multitude of the nations that are gathered together, he shall defend his people that remain, and then shall he show them great wonders. Then said I, O Lord, thou bearest rule, show me this. Wherefore have I seen the man coming up from the midst of the sea? And he said unto me, like as thou canst neither seek out nor know the things that are in the deep of the sea, even so can no man upon earth see my son, or those that be with him, but in the daytime, or in that time that he's referring to, that he's to be revealed. This is the interpretation of the dream which thou sawest, and whereby thou only art here lightened. For thou hast forsaken your own way, and applied your diligence unto my law, and sought it. Your life has thou ordered in wisdom, and has called understanding your mother. And therefore have I showed thee the treasures of the highest. After other 3 days, I will speak other things unto you, and declare unto you mighty and wondrous things. Then went I forth into the field, giving praise and thanks greatly unto the Most High, because of his wonders which he did in time. And because he governed the same and such things as fall in their seasons, and there I sat 3 days. So, as you can see here, there is a person in the latter days. You know, you may want to call the latter days the time of Hamashiach's earthly life. But I think that prophecy pertains to more of the time around this time, which we consider the last days. You know, we consider this time here as the last days. So that's just how we feel about it. So that is a very small portion of the nation building scripts that Amaziah pulled out the other day for why elections are important. They're quite necessary because a leader is going to have to build up the nation in a military fashion, and then that he's going to guide that military to destroy the wicked people who came to fight against the righteous. So they were fighting each other first. Uh, I would assume that that's months or years, and then when they saw the righteous man come before the and spill out of his mouth on a high mountaintop, fire and tempests and stuff like that, that was to say that he was sharing the law with them and making them feel guilty. And this angers atheists and Satanists more than anything, trying to make them feel guilty for the wickedness that they do. So, because when they feel condemned within their own mind, then they feel like they have accepted defeat. And which, I mean, you've already been defeated, you know what I mean? So that's part of that right there. Now, next order of business, got to get your IDs. Let me share my screen. Got to get your IDs. Your IDs let us know that you are a citizen of New Jerusalem and you have been studying Torah for a certain amount of time and understand and accept it. So this will give us the incentive and to hire you in our military and pay you to work our military you can be a reserve for the military. And I had a military conversation last night where they were crying about sending themselves into a hellish war for the government and then expecting us to feel sorry for them choosing to leave this comfortable land, right? I understand it's oppressive, but it's not like war, trust me. So they want to try to appeal to us like, well, you support the vets and look at his leg is blown off and feel sorry for the vets. I said, man, there are people who do things for the community. You know what I'm saying? There's people who don't run away from the country, the whole country, to go fight a war for the lust and greed of the rulers who want to steal the resources of a whole nother country. You see what I'm saying? And people just stay here and do things in the community to make change. So and the only reason I said that is because she tried to compare the vets, talking about the vets are better than civilians, talking about civilians will never understand what vets have to go through. Nobody told you to go into the military, dude. I mean, somebody did, but you accepted it. I almost accepted it 4 times. I tried to get into the military 4 times. I was turned down 4 times because God had another plan for me, which I'm accomplishing right now. But you talking about vets are better than civilians, and civilians will never understand what vets have to go through and have to go through war, and somebody need to be thrown in a wolf pit because that boy, what's that boy that Kanye West had spoke out talking about he's tougher than a vet. So they was going in on him. I said, man, that dude from Chicago, but he probably is tougher than a vet. You know what I'm saying? I'm from a small city. We used to beat up veterans every day. You know what I'm saying? So when you're from the hood, you see these things that these suburban people volunteer to go to a war and kill people they never met before in their entire life that never did anything to them at all ever. So you ain't nothing but a hitman for hire. You know what I'm saying? So that's it on that. But I'm gonna go into my science segment because I don't want to get heated back up in that vet debate, because that's just a everlasting debate that never ends. Okay, so I'm telling people, do not be afraid of science. I know the camps tell you that science is false, but the Bible verse that says science falsely so called is not talking about all science. Job mandates, the Most High mandates science recorded in Job. And it's just that some scientists are liars and use the method improperly and record their findings as lies. You know, they remix their findings to fit their atheist agenda that there is no God. So, you know, just understand that.
It's a process with certain luminescence. The first time I saw solar-luminescence was in a darkened room. I was transfixed to look at this spherical flask of fluid, and you look into the center, and in the center see a glowing blue-purple light, which could be seen with the unaided eye. It looked like a star in the heavens.
Seth Putterman called it the star in a jar, a tiny spot of bright light contained in a flask of liquid. This star in a jar is made when a sound wave is passed through a small bubble inside a flask of liquid. And this sound wave makes the bubble do something remarkable. First it expands, then it collapses. And this collapse happens so violently that vapor molecules trapped inside the bubble slam together and heat up so much that the bubble gives off an incredible burst of heat and light, several thousand times a second, giving the appearance of a star. What made the phenomenon so exciting was the temperature of this star in a jar. On its surface alone, the light burns at tens of thousands of degrees. And Seth Putterman now contemplated a tantalizing possibility. Could the core of the collapsing bubble be even hotter? Hot enough for fusion?
One of the mysteries of sonoluminescence is to determine exactly how hot the interior of the bubble gets. In the sun, the interior can be millions of degrees, hot enough to cause fusion, and the thought crossed my mind that perhaps inside the collapsing bubble, the interior of the bubble might also get hot enough to cause fusion.
If so, this would be something truly amazing. By simply bombarding tiny bubbles with sound waves, temperatures of over 10 million degrees would be created. And nuclear fusion, the same reaction that powers the sun, would be happening almost effortlessly here on Earth.
Okay. So that's just my science segment that I'd like to have to encourage you guys to stay up on your science and become scientists and develop your sciences, and you know, stay smart, hit the books and learn things of this nature, and keep God in your mind at all times. All righty, so I'm opening up for discussion with my co-host. Take this off of here. I'm Isaiah Howard.
Oh yeah, I wanted to actually it's kind of off topic, but I wanted to go back to that second Ezra's scripture you were reading.
Okay.
Second Ezra 13 and 16. For as I conceive in mine understanding, woe unto them that shall be left in those days. Right. So in the time that he's seeing, right, in the coming of Mashiach, he's saying, woe unto them that shall be left in those days. And we know woe means destruction.
That's right.
But then he goes on to say, and much more woe unto them that are not left behind.
Yep.
And we've always had this big hoax from the Left Behind series.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
Always had this huge hoax from the actual Left Behind series, which I thought was funny. And it actually it goes into Matthew 24. Can you pull that right quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm about to pull this up. I'm about to pull up Matthew 24 right quick. Because that's where they, taught us growing up in the church that we were going to get raptured. You know what I'm saying? And the word rapture is nowhere in the Bible. Now let's get this. Go back to my screen share. Let's go ahead and start at verse 1. Matthew 24:1. And Yahushua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him to show him the buildings of the temple. And Yahushua said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us then when all these things should be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And it's funny because I got a dude on a video. I was out in the street trying to say he was Christ. It says, And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. Now that goes back again to 2 Ezra 13 and 16. For as I conceive in mine understanding, woe unto them that shall be left in those days, and much more woe unto them that are not left behind. So do we really want to be left behind when Hamashiach is saying right here, but he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, to them that give suck in those days. So woe to those nursing mothers, right?
That's right.
But pray ye that your flight be not in winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should be no flesh saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Let's see here. I'm about to skip down, just so we can get straight to the point. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. Let's get straight to the point. It's Matthew 24 and 37. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Now, we'll reiterate on 2 Ezra 13 and 16. It says, Woe unto them that shall be left in those days, and much more woe unto them that are not left behind. So what happened in Noah's day? You feel what I'm saying? What happened in Noah's day? Who was left behind and who wasn't? Whereas in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark. And knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Then shall two be fulfilled, the one shall be taken and the other left. All right?
Yeah.
So we gotta see the context of that word taken, because this is the scripture they're using in the churches to say we're gonna be raptured, right?
Mhm.
Let's see here. It says, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So when they're saying took or taken, that means they got killed. Two
There you
women
go.
shall be grinding at the mill, the one shall be taken, and the other left. Watch therefore, for ye know not the hour of the Lord doth come.
That's right. So the woe of those left behind is the fear and grieving and heavy-hearted, like it said. And then the much more woe to those who are not left behind are the ones who get killed, who get taken. So I advise you to come on the ark, because we are Noah's Ark. The nation of Israel is Noah's Ark. So I like to call the nation of Israel New Jerusalem, because once we fill ourselves with the Holy Spirit, then we are that very thing, New Jerusalem. And we're going to be building our country, you know what I'm saying, on earth. And then we're going to be, the people are going to take us out of our land, and people are going to be afraid and stricken by that process. But I mean, the Heavenly Father doesn't give us a spirit of fear, but a sound mind and love, right? I don't want to misquote it, but that's what that is. So you're going to be afraid when you during the process of you being transitioned to your own land. You see, and then some of you are going to panic, and you're gonna fight. You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna be killed. You're gonna be taken. So you don't, it's gonna be much more woe for you. And then the people who endure this transition to the end are gonna, be living in the land. We're gonna build, and we're gonna possess the captives captives we once were. And you know what I'm saying? We're gonna take captive the oppressors. We're gonna rule over them, and they're gonna be our nursing mothers and fathers. And they're gonna bring back our inheritance after we spoil, you know what I'm saying, all the rest of that stuff. So, we got some of the prophecy clarified for you here on this series, Claim Your Inheritance. We're gonna get more into prophecy, as the days go along. We just giving you a taste of it because we need numbers. So the numbers can promote and get the word out that elections are about to occur in February of 2017, so that we can appoint one head over us. That one head is going to do a lot of the prophecies and direct the rest of the country for our people to do the prophecies. And part of that prophecy includes fighting. That's why we're an army. The whole entire nation is an army. You see what I'm saying? Well, the men, I mean, above 20 years old. So, you got to know these things and be prepared in your mind to deal with these situations, because they're going to be very frightening to some of you. But to those who are prepared and who endure to the end, we're not going to be afraid. We might be afraid and have courage and fear. Courage and bravery, and fight through the fear and continue to do what we're supposed to do. But we're not going to be afraid and fold and freeze up and stop performing what we're supposed to perform. So you got to do the work. You know what I'm saying? So prophesying is a part of that, but you also have to do the prophecies, the events that are spelled out in the Bible. Part of that is setting up the election. So get on board with us, get your ID, join the military. Military pays. Get you some good life lessons. Everything is involved with nation building, sciences, all that. All right. What else? What's the next topic we can talk about here? Got about 20 minutes.
We got Passover coming up. 22nd this month. I'll be 14. And I was going to expound just a little bit more on the sin topic. If you want to get into that, about the leaven.
Okay.
Let's see. Go ahead, screen share. All right, now earlier we talked about the sign of Jonas. All right, Jonah being in the belly of the whale for 3 days and 3 nights.
Huh.
Let's see here. Matthew 16:5. And when his disciples were come to the other side, they had forgotten to take bread. Then Yahushua said unto them, Take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees. And they reasoned among themselves, saying, It is because we have taken no bread. You know what I'm saying? So they were sitting there like, it completely went over their heads. They were like, man, he probably mad because we didn't bring nothing to eat. You know what I'm saying? And then he was telling them to beware of the leaven of the Pharisees, and that leaven is sin. And that goes back to like we were talking about earlier, how those Pharisees and Sadducees were Edomites, Idumeans. You know what I'm saying? And which when Yahushua perceived, he said unto them, O ye of little faith, why reason ye among yourselves because ye have brought no bread? Do ye not understand, neither remember the 5 loaves of the 5,000, and how many baskets ye took up? Neither the 7 loaves of the 4,000, and how many baskets ye took up? How is it that ye do not understand that I spake it not to you concerning bread, that ye should beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees? All right. Then understood they how that he bade them not beware of the leaven of the bread, but of the doctrine of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees. Now, if we go back to let's see here. Let's get back into Exodus chapter 12.
Didn't the Pharisees and the Sadducees say, Ain't you the son of Joseph? Whose sisters and brothers we know? Okay.
You see, it makes a lot of sense now because they were always starting something with the crowds. You know what I mean? Try to get the crowds riled up, just like in when at the time of before his crucifixion. You know what I mean? That they were Edomites, they were Pharisees, and you would have had Edomites in the crowd. It only makes sense that they could, you know what I mean, easily rile those people up in such large numbers.
Exactly, and look where they got their main chance to do so. Right, this was when Hamashiach said, "You have to eat my flesh and drink my blood," and everybody left from him. The Pharisees and Sadducees were like, "Oh, this man is crazy! Yo, this man is crazy! Let's get out of here!" You know what I'm saying? And who was left? The 12.
And see, I'm starting to wonder if maybe even Judas might have been an Edomite. You know what I'm saying? Because he said he knew one of them was a devil. But look,
there you go.
Exodus 12:15 it says, 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. Even the first day ye shall put away leaven out of your houses. So you got to get rid of all leaven out of your houses. That's that yeast. And that's symbolic of us putting sin away from our bodies. Right. See, this is like it's like the Most High spring cleaning time. You feel what I mean?
That's right.
For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel. And that's a that little saying right there at the end is I take real seriously. You know what I mean? I took when I was working at Golden Corral back time during Yom Teruah and Sukkot. No, right before the Sukkot is Yom Kippur. You know what I mean? I took it in there and showed it to him. Look, it's saying I'm gonna be cut off from my people. You know what I mean? Or if I get caught doing any servile work, you know what I'm saying? My soul's gonna be killed, basically.
Right. Now, did you take off the whole 8 days, or did you take off the first and last day?
Just the first and last day are the Shabbats.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Though that was Sukkot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But let's see here. Of course, Yom Kippur I got off, and Yom Kippur I was off as well.
Cool, man.
Let's see here.
Good, you could do that. Some people too afraid to ask their bosses these things. But if they have a schedule ahead of time and present it a month or two in advance, then they could just take that day off, whatever day they need to take off.
Yeah, see, I had a problem with Buffalo Wild Wings though, because they were basically trying to say that, well, because I told them, you know, if I come in on a Saturday, it has to be after 8 o'clock. You know what I mean? If I work on a Friday, I can't work no later than 5. So during the time change, which is something else I was going to talk to you about, during daylight savings or whatever, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I told them, look, I can go in at 6 now. You feel what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So they tried to say like, oh well, or they try to use that excuse like, oh well, you know, it's kind of hard to get you on the schedule because you can't work Saturdays and this and this and that. That's a bunch of crap, man. But to the time change, because I never really paid attention to daylight savings until I still really don't, but I never paid attention to the sun going up and down until I came into the truth.
Exactly.
And noticed what time it started setting. Well, before daylight savings time last year, the sun was going down about 8 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? Friday night, start my Sabbath about 8 o'clock. Try to get out to the street around 8:30 to 9. Stay out there maybe till about 10 or 11. But then afterwards, after daylight savings time, the sun started going down around 5:30. And it's just, I guess it just got dark about 30 minutes ago out here.
Yeah, super late, man.
Yeah, like
about 8:35, 8:40.
Yeah, and people really believe this. Like, believe that the time's only going back 1 hour. After daylight saving the sun going down almost 2.5, almost 3 hours earlier.
Exactly.
That don't make no sense, man.
At all. You're so right, man. All right, let's see here. Now, I think we might be able to. You got something else to share with the people?
Let's see here. I was gonna save something for tomorrow, honestly.
Okay. Go ahead and announce your class. What time you're gonna do your class next Saturday? Y'all missed a good class this morning. I was right there learning. So you want to make the next one, trust me.
We'll shoot for the same time next week, 1:30. We might change to 2 o'clock. But as of right now, we'll have class next Shabbat, 1:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay, that's great. Also, don't forget our weekly meeting this month. The weekly meeting is Thursday evening at 8:30 to 9:30. Okay, we're ending a little bit early today. So we hope to see you tomorrow at 8:30. That is our next show for Claim Your Inheritance, the World's Holiest Government. I'm your host, Nazir Devai Emil Yasharal, the President Pro Tem of New Jerusalem until the real president stands up. I'm accompanied by my co-host, I'm Isaiah Howard, of the Vice President Pro Tem of New Jerusalem until the real Vice President stands up and gets elected. I want to say all praises to the Heavenly Father, Hayah Shahaya, the wonderful Son, Emmanuel Amashiach of Nazareth, and the Holy and the Comforter, the men who came.
Oh, yeah, I want to say one more thing too, just in case anybody that heard me say that the Pharisees and the Sadducees were Edomites. We're going to be bringing out all that information shortly, and anybody that wants to have a debate,
somebody with some heart.
Yeah, who is Esau, or who are the Edomites?
Are they Arabs, or was Herod an Arab? And who are the Ishmaelites as well? That's what I want to know as well.
Yeah.
The
Taking all
Ishmaelites and the Edomites. You tell us.
we taking
We don't know
all
anything. So you tell us what it is. I'm gonna sick my homeboy on you and let him spank you up a little bit, you know, try to dust you off and polish you up, you know what I'm saying? So you can be ready for New Jerusalem to be rulers instead of just saying anything that you want to say out your mouth. You understand? I'm gonna stick him on you and let him handle it.
I did some research on those sultans of Saudi Arabia, and they look like Khazars to me, man.
There you go.
Not only that, they come from the Ottoman Empire. You know where they came from? That's Turkey. So
that's right.
they're all their leaders were Khazars. So
what else could they be? I mean, they look just like Jewishers. They just got on a different headdress.
Yeah,
all it is too. So we're gonna see you when you get some heart. You know, all these princes out here. What's the Hebrew word for prince, bro?
You said what's the Hebrew word for prince?
Yeah.
Nasi, ain't it?
Is it? All you princes out here, I want y'all to come out here and tell us who Esau is and Ishmael. Who are these two people today? We'll catch you on tomorrow 8:30. Shalom.